Which was the first state to secede from the Union?
If you put a seed into the soil, and you pour water on it, what eventually is going to happen? It's going to grow into a plant.
Live It, Learn It's now in its 7th year of operations, and the concept actually arose out of my experience as a classroom teacher here in Washington, D.C., and I was working in a school with a history of low test scores and low performance, and confronted the reality that the vast majority of the students cannot effectively read the textbooks and other instructional materials that they're given. So one of the things I started to do as a classroom teacher was to think about, well, what are some of the opportunities in DC outside the classroom that I can use to help teach students the concepts they're supposed to be learning inside the classroom?
This year we're working with 17 schools in DC, and it's a way for the kids to get out of the classroom and learn about this content that is central to what they should be learning in their classroom already, but in a way that kids of all learning styles can access to actually go out, see things, do things, interact with things beyond the four walls of their classroom.
It's different because we didn't get to talk about all these plants, and when you actually get to come here, you can see what they're talking about.
We focus exclusively on Title I, which is high poverty neighborhood DC public schools. And we're trying to create for those students a level of exposure and a level of engagement that some of their peers in the more affluent parts of the city can count on by virtue of their family experiences and things like that.
One of the field trips we selected was Lincoln Memorial. They came in my classroom. They did a pre-trip lesson where they came in and actually taught the kids a lesson about what they would experience on the actual field trip. They're very engaging lessons. They're very hands-on lessons. They're meaningful lessons. It's a wonderful program.
The memorial is familiar to them because they hear about it a lot being in DC. I think the size of it really catches them off guard when they're right there in front of it because it is so large.
One of the surprising comments that we frequently hear from students is just about how they have never set foot in the Washington Monument, or they have never set foot in the U.S. Capitol, or some of these iconic institutions that Washington, D.C. is known for and that people travel to from across the country, across the world. The irony is that kids in our neighborhood schools have never visited them, have never set foot in them, have never had the opportunity to learn from them in the way that they can and should.
It's not like an average field trip. They'll teach you things that you probably wouldn't get taught on a regular field trip.
I would say it's a very fun experience, and if I gave it to a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 10.
We're trying to get kids more excited, more invested, more bought into the learning process. And what we see on average across our programs is on the pre-assessment front, 28% being the average student score before one of our programs, and on the tail end, afterwards, the average student score is 79%. So what we're seeing is nearly a tripling of student achievement with respect to these, again, key academic concepts and skills that they're already supposed to be learning in school.
Kids may start with a small amount of prior knowledge about something, but as they experience it, it becomes meaningful to them. They have a connection to it, and they're able to then talk about that in a greater context beyond just what they had read about in a book.
We find ways to get them engaged, get them excited, and get them learning, and most importantly, mastering the content that we want them to learn. One of the questions we always ask students at the tail end of our programs is, who wants to learn more about this topic we've just been studying? 96% of the time students say yes, I want to learn more about this academic topic. So what we would love to see is this type of programming available to kids in every school across the district.
It teaches you a lot, and you basically learn a lot of things that you probably didn't know.
I really like them, and I think they should keep on doing what they do. It's pretty fun.